Doug's the writer, so
Oh, I see how it
really
is.
what happened was
He's going to start out the whole podcast by throwing me under the bus right out of the gate.
yeah, no, it's kind of just a long chain of events, but long story short, me and Doug, we became friends. We lived close to each other, and through a local draw night that we'd go to in Salt Lake City, we met and we figured out we lived close to each other, and we carpooled to that draw night and later became friends. And then eventually we're like, let's work on something together. And so, well, it's kind of mixed up. It's been a while, but we would go to lunch at a local Taco Bell. We'd meet up once a week, right? That was kind of part of our thing. And then eventually we're like, let's work on something together. And then we talk about it at the Taco Bell and just kind of get things rolling. And that's kind of the genesis of Beware the Eye of Odin. Story wise, I don't know, Doug, you want to fill in how that came about and the theme and all that?
Yeah, a lot of it came, I mean, when Tim first approached about, when we first started talking about working together, I was like, hey, do you have anything in mind? And Tim immediately spit out like Trolls and Vikings. He's like, I want to draw trolls fighting Vikings. And I'm like, okay, let's do that, And so what's great about it, Tim and I, is like, we both have a lot of the same interests, and we both love like all those old Ray Harryhausen movies, Cyclops and all those, just like people fighting monsters all the time. And we kind of like wanted to try to revisit that a little bit in our comic. And initially it was supposed to be a 40-page one shot. We missed that.
Yeah, it was just so fun.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you missed it because I enjoyed the 4 issues. It was a lot of fun to read, guys.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, good.
Absolutely. Yeah, Josh started collecting these, and he kind of drew us in when we did our we decided to do one of our comic spotlights on it. So we all sat down and read all 4 of them in one shot. I believe he was reading them as they came, and I sat down and read all 4 of them. And I'm kind of glad I was able to read them all 4 at the same time, because I feel like I would have been upset if I couldn't have read the next one when I read the just love the artwork. Tim, your artwork is incredible. I have been looking at some stuff that you've been doing and some other things, and I just really appreciate the artwork. And one of the things, I've been reading comics. I'll be 50 next year, or actually getting close to this year. I've been reading comics a long time, and it felt like over the past year or so, the comics in general were getting a little stale with the pictures and things like that. But it really feels like the past couple of Image comics that I've picked up have been really eye-popping and really good. And yours is one of those where it just, I don't know, there's something about it. It was very fun, and the artwork made it fun.
Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Well, you guys want to kind of hear my art inspiration lineage? I don't know.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, first, I'm 41. And I read comics all through elementary school and stuff. But when Image Comics hit, my favorite comic was Savage Dragon. And because of the artwork, and actually, I think that's the best written out of the founders. But that's my opinion. But Eric Larson, his storytelling, his page turning, his action, I was really interested in that. And that it kind of flowed for me. And I think I've taken inspiration from there. And then after that, Robert Kirkman, Invincible. And I felt like Robert Kirkman's writing was similar to Eric Larson's with his page turns and all that. And Ryan Ottley was drawing that. And I felt like he had a similar storytelling to Eric Larson. And there's guys like Jason Howard. Do you know who that is?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what.
Back then with Invincible, he did Astounding Wolfman.
Okay, yeah.
He did the Astounding Wolfman, and he does trees, and he's done trees, and I think his most recent thing was Big Girls. But anyways, he kind of had the same type of story flow, and you could tell his inspiration was from Eric Larson and a few other people. But basically, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if you could see the inspiration, and there's some manga in there, but that's kind of where my interests have been growing up through comics. And I guess, I mean, I guess that's how I got to where I got with my storytelling and artwork and stuff.
Eric is Eric's a very, you can tell the joy he loves of comics to this day. He always posts about comics he bought like 40 and 50 years ago, still to this day on Twitter. He just loves this medium so much. So it's definitely a great influence to have.
Yeah, and Doug, not to take away from your storytelling, but Tim's artwork paints a beautiful picture. And
and that's, I mean, that, you know, for a writer, like as long as you enjoy the story, you know, it doesn't matter to me whether you're like, if you're gushing over Tim, it still means you read our book.
Yes,
so, you know, it's like, you know, it's like, I'm always like, I think it's fantastic. And one of the reasons like I wanted to work with Tim is because his stuff was so unique that honestly, like when we were first thinking about working together, I struggled like, what do you want to do? Because I didn't know what would fit his style the best, you know, because his style is very unique. And, you know, luckily this was just like right in his wheelhouse.
Right. And I take great artwork as a testament to a great storyteller, because you have to kind of tell him where the story is going, and then he draws that.
Oh yeah, I mean, and we worked really closely together. That was the good part of, you know, the fun part about it too, is we were really close. As far as like I would, you know, I'd bring in some pages and say, hey, what do you think about these? And he'd give me his honest opinion. And he'd do the same thing with like, he'd bring me layouts and pencils, and we go over them and say, hey, what do you think about this? And I mean, the problem we ran into with that is we would like something so much that it ended up being 20 pages instead of 40. You know, like, you know, like it just kept at it's like, oh man, we want to do this really cool Trolls versus Earth and Smith thing. And you know, when you're trying to do a 40-page book, I think that's like 6 or 7 pages just on its own. You know, and it's like, yeah, we just got lost in this stuff. So that was what was so fun about working with somebody as good as Tim, is that it was just, you know, we had fun doing it over and over again.
The thing is there was no pressure. And so it was like me and Doug were just playing and having fun doing this. There was no pressure to be like a really tense, I don't know, in-depth story. We were just having fun. And it was a really, real good open working environment where we'd come with ideas. And if we both liked it, we'd go with it. If we didn't, we'd discuss like, what's the problem with it? And I mean, for me, it was like, wow, this is a lot of fun. This is not work. I'm having so much fun here. So
it shows in the story. It shows because it's a fun read.
Yeah. I was going to say, you can really tell it as you're reading it. It's just an overall weight of like, there wasn't a weight so much as there was just enjoy this story. Here it is, you know, and it really shows. And I, you know, I've read over the past, I think Josh, Daniel, and I read, what did we, Twig not too long ago by Scotty Young. And it just, that one fun to read too. And this one kind of has that feel where, hey, do I need something light to read that doesn't feel like I'm ending the whole DC universe or Marvel's exploding, or, you know, so just give me something fun to read. And so, yeah, I really enjoyed reading it.
awesome.
So, I know this is by far probably not you guys' first project. You kind of want to give us an idea of some other things. I know, Doug, you're working on right now. Plush, I believe, is the name of it.
Yeah.
And so, what else have we got in the works, or have you guys worked on as well?
Well, this
ahead,
is my first comic, so I'm looking forward to doing some more.
Awesome.
Yeah, I haven't really done anything. I've done like some anthology stuff, nothing too serious. This is my first big sequential story. So, and then I mean, I'm hoping to do some more comic work. So
we hope you do too, because yeah, definitely.
And for me, like I started with The Ride back in 2004. and that was through Image Comics as well. And that was kind of like an anthology crime noir style of book. Worked in DC Custom, which a lot of people don't know about. So like, I'm sure you guys have seen, like, sometimes there's stuff, let's say like on the NFL website, and they do a comic on, say, Cam Newton. Well, they hired DC, NFL hired DC to do that, and then DC hired me to write it. So like, it's like this weird, like, I did stuff for cereal boxes and all this kind of weird stuff. Along the way, I got to do like a World of Warcraft Bloodsworn graphic novel, and they let me do 2 of the Batman online comics as well. And then since then, I've been really focused on just, once I did Plastic, which seemed to find people like my weird, dark comedy sense of humor, and it kind of took off. And I'm like, I'm just going to keep playing with serial killers and Trolls versus Vikings until people tell me to stop.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, I know Plush disappeared from our shop really fast when they came in. So I actually didn't get a chance to grab it yet, but I've got my guy looking for a copy so I can get a copy of the first issue, because they went fast, and that's a good thing. And Beware the Eye of Odin went fast as well. I know that Josh, the trade paperback came out the 21st, which was this week.
Yeah.
So you guys want to give people some heads up on maybe what is inside that they might not have got with the initial 4 there?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, for sure. I got it right here. So you got the initial 4, but let's see. There's some,
I mean, how many pages did we end up with back matter? We ended up with like, what, 12 to 15 pages of sketches and stuff that Tim did, kind of like building up before we started
I
the
love
book.
that stuff.
It's 192 pages, and the actual story is 162. And so we've got the cover gallery in the back with all the different covers, right? And then after that, there's pinups. So I got some of my friends, which some of these guys were actually at that draw night that me and Doug would go to. They were also attendees that we became friends with.
Nice.
So there's pinups in there, and there's one that's exclusive to this book, and then after that is like the like a sketch design section, with a bunch of character designs and weapon designs, and kind of like the evolution of the characters, and a bunch of creature designs. There's lots of troll stuff, so it's really fun because you kind of see the evolution of the trolls and the different creatures in it. And I'm really proud of that section because regularly no one sees this stuff, and there's a lot of preparation that goes into creating a world that really you haven't seen before. So yeah, there's definitely some good chunky extra stuff that you didn't get in the original.
Nice. And that's probably got the favorite cover of me that I couldn't get. I think it was a store exclusive. The first issue had a Castlevania cover.
Oh yeah.
An homage to Castlevania.
Yeah, unfortunately that's not in it.
And I'm guessing this one with the trade coming out now, which was perfect for like monthly reading, like you would have like a little bit at the end, and you would read that again at the beginning of every issue, but now it's just all in sequential order now, which probably makes just a really quick, nice, tight read now.
Yeah, there's no chapter breaks. It's just one flowing story.
Nice.
So
the weird part about that story is when Tim and I started this, our first thought, we were doing it to do a web comic. That was going to be, we were going to do a web comic and then print it all together in a trade form, and kind of Kickstarter it. And then Tim, unbeknownst to me, was like, he met up with Eric Stevenson at a small show in Minnesota, right?
Yeah.
And he showed, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh,
I was gonna say, like, from what Tim told me, like he takes Eric Stevenson's doing a portfolio review, and Tim takes these up there, and he's like, man, I love this. What is this story? And would you be interested in image publishing it? And of course, Tim was like, well, yeah, I mean, we'd love that. And he's like, who's the writer? And he's like, Doug Wagner. And he's like, Doug Wagner is a friend of mine. And so I have no clue any of this is happening. I don't even know Tim's at the convention. And like Monday, I wake up and there's an email on my box, and all it is, and Eric Stevenson's very blunt and direct in his emails. And he's like, all he says is, Doug, what's up with this Viking book? And I'm like, how does he know about the Viking book? Like, I don't even like, I didn't tell him anything. Like, we don't have anything online. Like, how does he possibly know? And so I'm like texting Tim, and then Tim calls me and goes, "Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you."
I was gonna tell him.
And so that's how it ended up being like a regular comic at Image, is that Eric Stevenson just wanted it. Like after he saw the pages, of course, that Tim had drawn, and that at that point it was just pencils, and yeah, it was just pencils.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, and that's a really huge dream for me, because Image, like growing up, Image was like the big thing, right?
Yeah.
And our book came out on the 30th year anniversary, which was really cool. You know, to think that I was 10 when Image 1992 started, and here I am. I got a comic through Image, and so that's really something special for me.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's awesome. I know who my favorite character is in the story. Do you guys have one that you like more than the others?
Tim, how about you? You start on this one.
I like them all, but I'll tell you, maybe, I mean, Caitlin, I really like how she's really positive and nothing gets her down. Steiger, you know, it kind of reminds me of my dad. And Helgi's kind of the every man, you know. So I mean, it's hard for me because I like them all, really. But the most, I tell you, is I like drawing those trolls, because you can just go crazy with them. So
we had so much fun with all the characters, and we're talking about even like the small little characters, you know, you see in some of the fight scenes and stuff. And so, I mean, if you're talking about the main characters, I think Caitlin appeals to me the most because she comes across as crazy, and you know, you've seen the stuff I write, so you know, I identify with her a little bit. And, but like you get into like, I love the Hunderfolk, you know, the little guys that are like running around grabbing everything. And then the one that just kind of surprised me is that little guy at the end that's escorting the mega troll that's got like all the eyes on his head. You know, he's just like the little bitty guy holding the chain, and he's just screaming, "Die, die, 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 die," the whole time he's charging. I love him. Like I've told Tim multiple times, I want to do a story just about that family of the trolls. Like, you know, like these little weird creatures that have nothing but eyes on their head and run around screaming, "Die, die, die, die." Like I love that character.
Yeah, that sounds like a one shot to me.
Well, that's how this started. So
a one shot that turns into a 6-issue mini.
Yeah.
Hey,
Awesome.
I mean, for me, I love the one-armed warrior. I think he was
Steiger.
one of the best characters in the story. I really enjoyed his character arc in there.
And for me, it was Kayla. I immediately fell in love with her second, and like I started reading reading the first issue.
Yeah, I think
bet
I'm
you, Christopher.
there with Daniel. She was a great character. I really enjoyed her character. But again, I almost feel like asking you guys to pick your favorite character is like asking you to pick your favorite kid, because I mean, it's you know, they're all great characters. I mean, it was a really fun read, and but each one had something individually special about them that made you like them. When I first started reading it, I get this vibe of like almost like a labyrinth slash I don't know, you might remember the old Don Bluth video game, Dragon's Lair. I kind of got that kind of feel as I'm reading it as well. So, but it's just fun because it brought back like some childhood memories for me, and that's always fun to do. So, all right, hey guys, welcome to another edition of Creator Spotlight. Josh, Daniel, and I here are with Tim Odland and Doug Wagner, the creators and artists of Beware the Eye of Odin, a recent series that just came out over this past year, a 4-issue miniseries. A lot of fun to read. We really enjoyed reading it, and we thought we would love to kind of dig into Tim and Doug's head a little bit and see where their inspiration came from, and just talk a little bit about this book.
To let our viewers know, the gentleman in the baseball cap is Tim Odland.
Yep.
Yeah, that's me. It's Odland, but
Odland. Okay.
that's okay.
Odland. And below us we have Doug Wagner.
Hey, everybody. Nice to be here.
Well, my first question is where did the inspiration come for this story?
I guess we should go ahead and tell everyone that's watching that they can go to their local comic shop and pick up the trade paperback, and make sure if they don't have it that they order it for you. Because we want to keep these local comic shops in business. They are the lifeblood of this industry, and we love supporting them. But if they can't find a local comic shop in their areas, the book is available, I guess, through, you guys got like Amazon and other areas like that as well, correct?
Yeah.
You should be able to get it at Amazon and Comixology. Well, I guess
Okay.
that's Amazon now, isn't it? So
Yeah.
yeah,
Pretty
much,
Pretty much.
But I think Tim checked about the price of the trade, because I think we down priced it versus up pricing it. I think it's actually for 100, almost 200 pages. I think it's what, $16.99?
Yeah, it's $16.99.
Nice.
Yeah, and
Nice.
usually for that, they want us to charge 25. But luckily Eric was like, hey, I want more people to read this, so let's make it more affordable for everybody. So we were pretty happy about that.
Awesome. Good. Well, let's sell enough copies that you guys make a sequel. You keep the
Oh
story.
yeah, I'm all for that.
Absolutely. And at that price point, and I do read comics online, but there's something about holding that physical book in your hand that makes it great, and just being able to look at those pictures that way.
Yeah, I'm going to point out that I'm the only person I see who doesn't have books behind him is Tim. Where's your bookshelf, dude? Come on.
My bookshelf
I'm
is over
technically
here.
movies, so I can't say anything. My books are in the other room, but this just makes a great image.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I see his art desk, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, my bookshelf's over there, and I promise you, it's chock full. I would turn my computer. But
what's really cool is one of the greatest movies ever made. He's got a poster of that behind him on the wall.
Yes.
So.
Oh yeah,
it is.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I don't want to get too dug into the story specifics, because I think people should go and read this book. And like you said, go get a physical copy, because there's nothing like holding a physical copy in your hand of a book. Reading online is fun, but there's just something visceral about the experience of reading a book in your hand.
You can't enjoy the double page spreads on a digital copy like you can in your hand.
no.
Yeah, that's it. Well, that's another thing too with our book is it's because it was a web comic, we built it so the spreads there's it's like a rhythm to it, right? And so there's images where there's big spreads, and I think honestly it works better if you have a physical copy.
Yeah, absolutely. I know when we were reviewing the book, Josh would tell me, go find page number 4 and 5 together out of book this one, or every once in a while it didn't line up the way I wanted it to, because we tried to share some of the images as we reviewed the books and stuff, and I was like, okay, and I would send him a picture and go, is this the one you want? And he'd go, no, that's not it. So I'd have to go back and make sure I got the right one, because the truth was there were so many great pictures that we couldn't have gone wrong anyway with any of them. So
Yeah, I knew we were onto something when Tim showed me the first double page spread, which is page 2 and 3.
Yeah.
It's the first time you see this frost giant head, and it's been severed off, and it's just kind of sitting there, and Tim showed that to me, and I was like, oh, so you're really bringing it, like, oh, I gotta take this a little bit more serious now. Like, if Tim's gonna bring this kind of detail to the art, like, I've got to make sure the story's good. And I mean, he's got so many, like the first time the Hunger Folk shows up, I mean, there's 50 to 100 of these little guys that he drew on that double page spread. And I'm like, dude, how long will this take you? And he's like, it doesn't matter as long as it's good. So yeah, it was just, I mean, I'm with you guys. Like I every time I look through the book, my jaw drops at some of the double page spreads and how fantastic they are, how beautiful some of them are.
And like the detail on that page with all the 100 folks, every one of those little creatures were detailed. It was a George Perez level cover with the detail on each of those characters.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. So let me ask this: when you talk about, the detail and stuff, what was the total length of the process? How long did it take to create all 4 of these novel comics?
Oh, I don't know if I want to tell you. It didn't take that long, really. It was quick.
Oh, really? Wow.
No.
he's
No,
not
so
telling
I
you the
had
truth.
I worked freelance, and basically I was working at night, and my schedule was really crazy, where put the kids to bed, and then from 7 to anywhere from 2 to 3 I'd stay up working on it when I could, and I did that for a while. And that's not really good on your health. So, and then I get like a job or something, and then I have to replace that time with the freelance job or whatever. So I mean, slowly, step by step, we got it put together. But it's difficult. It's difficult when it's not your full-time job, at least for me. So,
and someone in our defense, especially yours, like, I mean, when we started this, like I said, it was just 2 guys in Taco Bell. Really, we met every Wednesday at Taco Bell and discussed comics, and it was 2 guys just having fun creating a book. And I don't think he showed it to Eric until what, like we were 3/4 of the way through, maybe even farther.
Well, actually, I think there was like 10 pages left to be drawn.
Right.
It was all black and white.
It wasn't your typical process where, like, say you pitch the image and then they say, hey, go, we're gonna put out this year. So Tim and I were just goofing off for years. It was like there was no pressure. It was just having fun, getting together once a week, and just talking about, what we wanted to do with this book and taking our time. So, like, it wasn't like Tim was like getting paid by page to, like, immediately go, hey, you need to do this as your full-time job. So he's always a little ashamed that it took him so long, but at the same time, that wasn't our purpose at that point. Our purpose was just have fun making comics. It wasn't like, oh yeah, we're going to put this out next month.
Yeah. It was also, when I showed Eric, I think that he saw that, I showed him, I had a book like this thick of the pages printed out, and he saw that, whoa, this is a project that's close to done, and I think that also gained his interest, that having something really close to finish, So.
Well, I think it's really cool that you get to reap the rewards of your hard work and that way. And I know that we have enjoyed it. I would love to, we will be asking around as we do cons. We're kind of a Eastern North Carolina based YouTube channel, but when we hit all these Comic Cons in the coming year, we're making sure, hey, have you read this book, or please read it and let us know. Obviously, when we post this, we're going to push it really hard and let you guys be the stars there, and try to get you some people buying that trade paperback, because I know I'm going to be going tomorrow to some local comic shops, and if they have a copy, I'm going to go ahead and pick up a copy of it. So
awesome.
Thank you.
We've hit it all. We appreciate you guys joining us tonight. We're glad to talk to you and talk about this book. I can tell you had a lot of fun working on it. A lot of fun came through the story and the images. And I'm just hoping, is there a Beware the Eye of Odin 2 somewhere simmering? Do you have ideas?
Oh yeah. We discuss it all the time. So it's like, and it's I think the true testament to, like, a book that comes out that's this big, the fact that Tim and I are still friends and like to hang out together tells you everything about it. Because, like, I've worked on projects where we got 20 pages in and I never wanted to see the person again. So, like, all I want to do is have dinner with them. So yeah, we're always working on something new.
Yeah.
It's nice to know something good can come out of Taco Bell.
Yep.
that can't be good for your health either. So.
That's true.
Yeah. So awesome. Well, we have really enjoyed this and enjoyed talking to you guys, and can't wait to read more from you guys and see more artwork, Tim, because if this is your first comic, the sky's the limit for you, man, because this is a really great comic, and
Definitely.
I really appreciate it. And Doug, your story is just so much fun to read. I really enjoyed it, and I look forward to reading more from you. Maybe I can find a copy of Plush tomorrow while I'm hopping around all those comic shops. So,
Well, you got my Instagram DM, so if you can't find one, you might know somebody that can get you one. Just saying.
awesome.
Awesome.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah, well, we appreciate you guys coming in, Doug and Tim. We look forward to the next big books coming out. Guys, if you're in your local shops, look for Beware the Eye of Odin. Look for it online or wherever you buy comics. Check out Plush from Doug and see if we can find some more artwork from Tim. We'll get some more of that going and get some good stuff there. If you're looking for that, and if you're looking for these guys, check your local shops, check your conventions, see when they're going to be there, go meet them in person. Maybe you could get an autographed copy of that sent your way. We will be January 28th in Jacksonville, North Carolina, Chris, correct?
Morehead City.
At where it's at the gym. What was the name of the
Carolina
gym?
Gymnastics, I believe. We'll throw the flyer up to show you where it's going to be. There's a pop swap / toy show that day from 11 to 5. And the Bronze Age Batgirl is going to be there with us, Karen Whitfield. So come out and meet her. And until the next video, we will see you at the shop.